Welcome, dear listener, to another journey with Guide to Reads. Today, we open the pages of a book that has shaped dreamers, leaders, and achievers across generations. Napoleon Hill's The Law of Success, the complete and original lesson plan for achieving your dreams. Before Think and Grow Rich, there was this monumental work, a masterclass spread over 15 powerful principles, each crafted not only to build wealth, but to shape character, strengthen health, and unlock happiness. It is a blueprint not merely for making a living, but for creating a life of significance. Picture yourself sitting in a classroom, not of wood and chalk, but of wisdom and vision. Napoleon Hill is the teacher, and his lessons are distilled from the giants of industry and thought: Carnegie, Edison, Ford, Rockefeller. Yet, these teachings are not reserved for them alone. They are meant for you, for me, for anyone willing to learn and apply. This isn't just a book about money, it is about the laws of life, how to master your thoughts, discipline your actions, and align your mind with success. For success, as Hill reminds us, is not an accident, but a science. A law just as gravity is a law. So take a deep breath, dear listener, and open your heart to this transformative journey. Together, we'll explore these 15 timeless lessons, step by step, principle by principle, and see how they can ignite the hidden potential within us. Because your dreams are not far away, they are waiting patiently for you to apply the law of success. Lesson 1. The Mastermind. Dear listener, Napoleon Hill begins with a principle that might seem simple, yet it carries the weight of empires. The mastermind. What is it? Imagine two minds coming together, yours and another's, in harmony, not conflict. Hill describes it as the coordination of knowledge and effort in a spirit of harmony between two or more people, for the attainment of a definite purpose. Pause for a moment and reflect. Have you ever sat with a friend or colleague and found that your ideas suddenly grew bigger, sharper, more creative, as though a third invisible mind had joined the conversation? That is the mastermind at work. Napoleon Hill learned this from Andrew Carnegie, the steel magnate who built his empire not alone, but with a circle of trusted advisors, innovators, and visionaries. Carnegie admitted openly, "I owe everything to my mastermind group." Here lies the secret. No great success is achieved in isolation. Edison had his laboratory team, Henry Ford had his board of experts, even modern innovators like Steve Jobs or Elon Musk leaned on networks of brilliant minds. The mastermind principle tells us, surround yourself with people who elevate your vision. Build relationships based on harmony, trust, and shared purpose. Don't just seek knowledge. Connect it with others to multiply its power. Think about it in your own life. Who are the people that bring out your best ideas? Who challenges you, supports you, and pushes you to think bigger? If you don't have such a circle yet, Hill's advice is urgent. Start creating one today. Because the mind, when joined with another, becomes something greater. Success, after all, is not a solo act. It is a symphony. Lesson 2. A definite chief aim. Dear listener, picture a ship setting sail without a destination. No map, no compass, no port in mind. Where would it end up? Nowhere, drifting endlessly at the mercy of winds and waves. Napoleon Hill warns us, many lives are lived exactly like that, drifting. The antidote is what he calls a definite chief aim. A single, crystal-clear purpose that gives your life direction, energy, and meaning. Hill believed, and proved through his research, that all great achievers had this one thing in common: a burning desire focused on one central aim. Andrew Carnegie wanted to dominate steel. Henry Ford wanted to build a car for the masses. Thomas Edison wanted to harness electricity. Each lived for a definite aim, and the world bent to their clarity. But here's the beauty. Your definite aim doesn't have to be grand in the eyes of the world. It only needs to be grand in your own heart. It could be writing a book, building a business, raising a family, or creating art. The key is clarity. Hill gives us this challenge. 1. Write down your chief aim in precise words. 2. Read it daily, morning and night. 3. Visualize it as though it were already achieved. 4. Back it with faith and action. Why? Because when your mind knows where it's going, it begins to filter opportunities, attract allies, and unlock energy you never knew you had. Psychologists today call this the reticular activating system, your brain's filter. Hill knew it long before science caught up. Think about it. When you decide to buy a new car, suddenly you see that model everywhere. Why? Because your mind is tuned to notice it. In the same way, when you set a definite aim, your mind becomes a magnet for opportunities, ideas, and people aligned with your purpose. So let me ask you, dear listener, what is your definite chief aim? Not 10 aims, not a vague wish, but one burning purpose that you will pursue with all your heart, because clarity is power, and without it, success is only an accident. Lesson 3. Self-confidence. Dear listener, imagine a warrior stepping onto the battlefield with doubt in his heart. His sword may be sharp, his armor strong, but if his spirit wavers, defeat is written before the battle even begins. Napoleon Hill tells us, self-confidence is not arrogance, it is certainty. The certainty that you can and will shape your destiny. Without it, even the greatest talents and plans crumble. With it, even the humblest beginnings can rise into empires. But here's the secret. Self-confidence is not something we are simply born with. It is something we build. Hill lays out practical steps, almost like a ritual, to cultivate it. 1. Write a self-confidence formula, a declaration of who you are becoming and what you will achieve. 2. Repeat it daily, with faith. This isn't empty affirmation. It's training the subconscious mind to believe in your vision. 3. Take bold, decisive action. Confidence grows not in theory, but in practice. Every small victory feeds the next. 4. Surround yourself with positive influences. Doubt is contagious, but so is belief. Think of the great inventors and pioneers. Thomas Edison failed thousands of times before lighting the world. Henry Ford went bankrupt before he built his empire. Did they never feel fear? Of course they did. But they refused to let fear dictate their story. Confidence was their shield. Hill warns us, fear is the greatest enemy of success. Fear of criticism, fear of poverty, fear of failure. These shadows haunt many dreams into silence. But he also reminds us, fear is smoke, not fire. It disappears when faced with the steady flame of self-confidence. So, my friend, pause and ask yourself, what would you attempt if you had unshakable confidence? If you believed, without doubt, that success was possible for you? Because in truth, the world belongs not to the strongest or the smartest alone, but to those who believe they can. Lesson 4. The habit of saving. Dear listener, picture a farmer who eats every seed he harvests. When spring comes, what will he plant? Nothing. And when autumn arrives, what will he reap? Emptiness. Hill teaches us that wealth, like harvest, begins with the habit of saving. It is not merely about piling up coins or hoarding riches. It is about discipline, foresight, and respect for the future. Saving is proof that you believe in tomorrow. He advises us to set aside at least 10% of every income we earn, no matter how small. Why? Because every empire of wealth was first a handful of disciplined savings. Those savings become the capital that attracts opportunities, investments, and freedom. But the lesson runs deeper. The act of saving shapes your character. It trains self-control, teaching you to rule over desire. It builds patience, reminding you that great things grow slowly. It fosters confidence, because nothing strengthens the heart like knowing you have reserves. Hill also warns us, many fail not from lack of income, but from lack of discipline. A man may earn much, yet remain poor if his spending devours his earnings. Conversely, a modest saver, steady and wise, may find himself wealthier than kings over time. Think of it this way. Money saved is not idle. It is like a soldier waiting in reserve, ready to fight when opportunities arise. Those who cultivate the habit of saving always have allies when fortune knocks. So, dear friend, ask yourself, do you control your money, or does your money control you? The habit of saving is not about deprivation. It is about liberation. It frees you from worry, from dependence, from being at the mercy of chance. Remember Hill's wisdom. The man who cannot control his spending habits cannot be trusted with much responsibility in any field. And so, the seed you plant today in disciplined saving will grow into the tree that shades your future. Lesson 5. Initiative and leadership. Dear listener, imagine a path through a dense forest. Most people hesitate at its edge, waiting for someone else to walk first, someone else to clear the way. But history tells us, progress belongs to the few who take that first step into the unknown. That is initiative. Napoleon Hill defines initiative as the courage to begin, to act without waiting for permission, without being pushed, without fear of stumbling. Initiative is the spark that ignites opportunity. Yet, when combined with leadership, this spark becomes a fire. Leadership is not about titles or commanding others. True leadership, Hill reminds us, is about vision, service, and the ability to inspire others toward a common aim. He outlines qualities of a real leader: courage to make decisions, even when uncertain; self-control, because one cannot lead others without first mastering oneself; justice and fairness, earning respect rather than demanding it; definiteness of decision, the ability to act swiftly instead of wavering endlessly; the habit of doing more than paid for, which builds trust and influence. Think of great figures, from Lincoln to Edison, from entrepreneurs to community builders. Their success was not handed to them. They seized it by stepping forward when others hesitated. Hill warns us the world is full of people who drift, waiting for instructions. But opportunity is reserved for the ones who show initiative, who see a need and step in to fill it, who dare to carry responsibility before being asked. And here's a secret: leadership doesn't always mean leading thousands. Sometimes it means leading one, yourself. Because the first and hardest person to lead is the one staring back at you in the mirror. So, my friend, consider this. Where in your life are you waiting when you could be leading? Where are you hesitating when you could be taking initiative? Because every great journey of success begins not with luck or chance, but with a single bold step forward. Lesson 6: Imagination. Dear listener, close your eyes for a moment and picture this. Every bridge, every skyscraper, every invention that defines our world began the same way. Not in stone or steel, but in the quiet spark of imagination. Napoleon Hill calls imagination the workshop of the mind. It is here that desires are given form, and ideas are born into plans. Without imagination, there is no progress, no creation, no greatness. Hill distinguishes between two kinds of imagination. 1. Synthetic imagination, where we rearrange old ideas into new forms. Think of Henry Ford. He did not invent the automobile, but he imagined a way to bring it to the masses through the assembly line. 2. Creative imagination, where flashes of inspiration arrive, often unbidden, from what Hill calls infinite intelligence. These are the sudden insights, the breakthroughs, the aha moments that change everything. But here's the secret. Imagination is not a luxury. It is a discipline. Like a muscle, it strengthens with use and withers with neglect. Hill urges us to cultivate imagination by setting aside time to think, to visualize, to let the mind wander beyond the ordinary. He reminds us that every fortune ever built began as a picture in someone's mind. Carnegie imagined an empire of steel. Edison imagined a world of light. The Wright brothers imagined flying machines. What the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. And this isn't just history, it's personal. Each of us holds within our imagination the power to reshape our lives. The question is, do we give it room to breathe? Do we dare to dream boldly enough? So I ask you, what picture are you painting in the workshop of your own mind? Do you see yourself trapped by limits or free to build, create, and rise? Because the truth is this: reality always follows imagination. Lesson 7: Enthusiasm. Dear listener, think of fire without heat or a song without rhythm. Lifeless, isn't it? In the same way, knowledge without enthusiasm is powerless. Napoleon Hill teaches us that enthusiasm is the electricity of success. Enthusiasm is not mere excitement. It is the deep, burning passion that transforms effort into joy and work into art. It is contagious, spreading from heart to heart, lifting spirits and multiplying energy. A man with enthusiasm can achieve more in a day than another without it might achieve in weeks. Hill reminds us that enthusiasm does 3 miraculous things. 1. It magnetizes your personality. People are naturally drawn to those who radiate passion. 2. It fuels persistence. When setbacks come, and they always do, enthusiasm keeps the flame alive. 3. It sharpens the mind. A passionate heart awakens creativity and imagination. Think of great speakers, leaders, or inventors. It was not just their ideas that moved people, but the fire with which they shared them. Martin Luther King Jr.'s words echoed because they carried the heat of conviction. Edison's endless experiments were sustained not by obligation, but by enthusiasm for discovery. But here is Hill's wisdom. Enthusiasm is not something we wait to feel. It is something we generate. It grows from purpose. When your work is tied to your definite chief aim, enthusiasm naturally flows. Without purpose, even the greatest task feels heavy. With purpose, even the hardest labor becomes light. And remember, enthusiasm is as important in private as it is in public. The energy you bring to your own thoughts and habits determines the energy of your life. So, ask yourself, do you approach your days with a spark or with a sigh? What would change if you infused even ordinary tasks with enthusiasm? Because success is not only about what we do, but the spirit with which we do it. And enthusiasm, my friend, is the soul of achievement. Lesson 8. Self-Discipline. Dear listener, picture a mighty chariot pulled by wild horses. Each horse is strong, fast, and full of power. But without reins, the chariot will crash, no matter how great the horses. Hill teaches us, our desires, talents, and passions are like those horses. Without self-discipline, they destroy rather than build. Self-discipline is the ability to master our thoughts, emotions, and actions. It is the art of ruling ourselves before seeking to rule anything else. Napoleon Hill insists, no man can lead others until he first learns to lead himself. What does this mean in practice? Control of desire. Not the killing of desire, but guiding it toward constructive ends. Desire for wealth, if undisciplined, leads to greed, but when disciplined, it leads to enterprise. Control of the tongue. Words can heal or wound, create or destroy. Discipline teaches us when to speak and when silence holds more power. Control of habits. Small daily actions, repeated, form destiny. Discipline ensures that our habits serve us, not enslave us. Control of time. Every wasted hour is a thief of opportunity. Discipline demands we give our hours purpose. Hill reminds us that great leaders, in business, politics, or life, are not those who conquered others first, but those who conquered themselves. Think of Lincoln's patience, Gandhi's restraint, or Edison's relentless work ethic. These were fruits of self-discipline, and let us be clear, discipline is not chains, it is freedom. The disciplined man eats wisely, and so his body serves him longer. He spends wisely, and so wealth grows. He studies daily, and so wisdom guides him. Discipline is not the enemy of joy, it is its guardian. So pause, my friend, and ask yourself, in which corner of your life do the wild horses still run unchecked? Where does discipline need to take the reins? Because the secret is this: without self-discipline, even the brightest dream withers. With it, even the humblest dream can rise into greatness. Lesson 9. Organized Thinking. Dear listener, imagine a library filled with thousands of books yet all scattered in chaos on the floor. The knowledge is there, but without order, it is useless. Our minds are the same. Thoughts, ideas, and knowledge may be abundant, but unless they are organized, they remain powerless. Napoleon Hill teaches that organized thinking is the key that transforms knowledge into achievement. It is not enough to know. We must arrange what we know into a plan and then act upon it. He reminds us that knowledge is only potential power. It becomes actual power when organized and directed toward a definite aim. Think of electricity. Raw energy is useless until channeled through wires to light a lamp. In the same way, raw knowledge must be channeled through organized thought to light our path. Organized thinking requires clarity of purpose. Without a goal, thoughts wander. With a goal, they align. Analysis and selection. Not every idea is useful. Discipline of mind means choosing the thoughts that serve, discarding those that distract. Application. Plans written but never acted upon are wasted ink. Organized thought demands action. Hill also stresses the importance of learning from specialists. A wise man knows he cannot master all fields, but he can gather knowledge from others and arrange it into his own vision. This is not weakness. It is wisdom. Consider how great inventions were built. Edison did not invent alone. He organized teams, knowledge, and experiments. Ford did not create the automobile. He organized existing ideas into an efficient system. Their genius was not in knowing everything, but in thinking clearly and organizing wisely. So I ask you, how do you organize your own thoughts? Do you scatter them across worries and distractions? Or do you gather them, focus them, and direct them toward your chief aim? Because the truth is this: success does not come to the busiest mind, but to the clearest one. Lesson 10. Concentration. Dear listener, picture the sun shining over a field. Its rays warm but scattered, gentle, unfocused. Now imagine that same sunlight passing through a magnifying glass. Suddenly, the scattered rays converge, and fire is born. That is the power of concentration. Napoleon Hill tells us, concentration is the ability to focus all your attention, energy, and willpower on one definite aim until it bends to your desire. Without concentration, even the most brilliant plans remain weak. With it, even modest talent becomes unstoppable. He warns us, many people fail not because they lack ability, but because they scatter themselves in too many directions. They chase every opportunity, answer every distraction, and wonder why progress never comes. The secret is not to do more things, but to do fewer things well. Hill suggests practices to strengthen concentration: silence and solitude. Time alone to think deeply trains the mind to hold steady. Definite schedules. Ordering your hours eliminates wasted motion. Elimination of distractions. Guard your attention as a treasure. Every interruption steals from your success. Single-minded pursuit. Choose one aim and pour yourself into it until it yields results. History is filled with examples. Edison often worked for days without pause, concentrating fully on one problem until he solved it. Andrew Carnegie said his success was built on putting all his eggs in one basket, and then watching the basket. Concentration also brings peace. When the mind is focused, it is less troubled by noise and worry. A focused life is a calm life, because energy is not wasted on 1,000 useless thoughts. So let me ask you, dear friend, where is your magnifying glass? Do you allow your life's sunlight to scatter aimlessly, or have you gathered it into a beam strong enough to ignite your dreams? Because the truth is this: scattered effort is weakness, concentrated effort is power. Lesson 11. Cooperation. Dear listener, imagine a choir. Each singer has a fine voice, but alone the melody is incomplete. Yet when voices unite in harmony, a single song can lift the spirit of nations. Such is the power of cooperation. Napoleon Hill declares, "No man succeeds alone." Every achievement, from the building of a railroad to the invention of a light bulb, was born from minds and hands working together in harmony. Cooperation is the lubricant of human progress. Hill distinguishes between two kinds: cooperation between individuals. This is the willingness to set aside selfishness for the sake of a shared goal. The great industrial empires of Carnegie and Ford were not one-man shows, but symphonies of coordinated effort. Cooperation with universal laws. Success also comes from aligning with nature's rules, with truth, with justice. To resist these is to fight against the current of life itself. He reminds us, selfishness breeds friction, but goodwill, courtesy, and fairness turn enemies into allies and obstacles into opportunities. When you learn to see every person as a potential partner instead of a rival, doors open where walls once stood. Think of Henry Ford. His genius was not only in machines, but in gathering men of vision around him, each bringing their talent to serve a greater dream. Or Thomas Edison, who built an entire laboratory of cooperating minds, amplifying his inventions beyond what one man could accomplish. Hill also insists that cooperation is the soul of the mastermind principle. No single brain, however brilliant, can equal the power of many brains blended in harmony toward one definite purpose. So I ask you, dear friend, do you insist on walking alone, stumbling over obstacles that others could help you move? Or have you embraced the law of cooperation, knowing that together human beings can move mountains? For the truth is this: selfishness isolates, but cooperation multiplies. And only through harmony can great dreams be built. Lesson 12. Failure. Dear listener, how often have you stumbled and thought, this is the end? Yet Napoleon Hill whispers a different truth. Failure is not the end. It is a signal, a teacher, and a guide. Hill tells us, every failure carries within it the seed of an equal or greater benefit. It is nature's way of redirecting us, of pruning our path so that we may find a stronger one. He cites the story of Thomas Edison. Thousands of failed attempts to create the light bulb did not discourage him. Instead, Edison replied, "I have not failed, I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Failure was his laboratory, and each setback brought him closer to triumph. Failure, Hill says, reveals our weaknesses and teaches us lessons that success cannot. It humbles our pride, strengthens our will, and shows us where we must adjust. Without failure, there is no growth, only illusion. But here lies the crucial distinction. The weak allow failure to destroy their faith. The strong interpret failure as feedback, as a whisper from life itself saying, "Try another way." Hill warns us, however, that most people quit at the first sign of defeat. They dig 3 feet away from gold, abandoning the mine when treasure is just beneath their feet. Persistence, therefore, is the golden companion of failure, turning defeat into discovery. Dear friend, do not curse your failures. Record them, study them, and learn from them. Each one is a tuition fee you pay to the great school of life. For in truth, failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of it. Every great success story is stitched with moments of defeat that refined, strengthened, and prepared the dreamer for ultimate victory. Lesson 13. Tolerance. My friend, pause for a moment and look around. The world is a mosaic of races, beliefs, opinions, and ways of life. Some clash, others harmonize. But what determines the outcome? According to Napoleon Hill, the answer is tolerance. Tolerance, Hill tells us, is more than politeness. It is the conscious effort to understand others, even when we disagree with them. It is the wisdom of listening before judging, of seeking common ground instead of building walls. History teaches us that intolerance breeds destruction. Wars, persecutions, and hatred are often the result of narrow minds unwilling to accept another perspective. In contrast, societies that embrace tolerance, like the flourishing of arts and sciences in ancient Persia, the Islamic Golden Age, or the Renaissance in Europe, unlocked the genius of humanity by welcoming diversity. But tolerance is not weakness. It does not mean surrendering your values or allowing wrong to prevail. It means defending your own convictions without hostility, with reason, kindness, and respect. Hill emphasizes that intolerance, especially in business or personal relationships, blinds us to opportunities. Imagine a leader who dismisses an employee's idea because it comes from someone different in background or appearance. That leader loses innovation. Imagine a family broken by intolerance of opinions. The result? Division and wasted love. Tolerance, then, is a bridge. It allows us to learn from one another, to work together despite differences, and to grow wiser through diversity. It is a principle that multiplies opportunities and diminishes conflicts. So, dear listener, train your heart in tolerance. Practice it daily. Listen more than you speak. Try to see the world through another's eyes. For in the end, tolerance is not just a virtue, it is a necessity for peace, progress, and prosperity. Lesson 14. The Golden Rule. Dear listener, imagine for a moment if every action you took had to be lived by you in return. Would you still speak the same words? Would you still act the same way? This is the essence of the Golden Rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Napoleon Hill presents this principle not just as a moral ideal, but as a practical law of life. Just as gravity holds the universe in order, the Golden Rule holds human relationships in balance. Break it, and chaos follows. Honor it, and harmony and prosperity flourish. In business, those who cheat their partners may gain for a moment, but they lose trust, the real wealth of commerce. In friendship and love, those who deceive eventually face loneliness, for sincerity is the soil of lasting bonds. The Golden Rule ensures that every seed you plant in the garden of others will return to you, sometimes multiplied. Hill warns us, selfishness and exploitation are short-lived. The universe has a perfect accounting system, invisible but unfailing. The kindness you extend, the fairness you uphold, and the respect you give will circle back to you, often when you need it most. Think of the leaders remembered with reverence: Gandhi, Lincoln, Mandela. They lived by the Golden Rule, seeking justice not just for themselves but for all. Their legacies shine because they honored humanity's shared dignity. Now, dear friend, apply this principle daily. Before you act, ask yourself, would I want this done to me? If the answer is no, pause, adjust, choose the path of integrity. For in truth, the Golden Rule is more than guidance. It is the master key to wealth, health, happiness, and peace. Lesson 15. The Universal Law of Cosmic Habit Force. Dear listener, imagine the universe as a great river, flowing endlessly, carrying with it the patterns of stars, seasons, tides, and even your own heartbeat. This river is what Hill calls the cosmic habit force, the invisible law that ensures order in both nature and human life. Just as the earth spins with precision, so too does this law govern the habits we build. When you repeat an action, a thought, or a choice, you are carving a channel in this great river. With time, the water of your life flows naturally through it. That is why habits, whether good or bad, grow stronger, until they guide your destiny almost without effort. Napoleon Hill insists this law is impartial. It does not care if your habit is constructive or destructive. Feed it discipline, kindness, and perseverance, and it will multiply your success. Feed it laziness, fear, or dishonesty, and it will drag you toward failure. The cosmic habit force is like fertile soil. It grows whatever seed you plant. Think of Edison, who turned perseverance into an automatic rhythm of discovery. Or think of those who surrendered to despair, repeating failure until it became their only truth. The difference lies not in luck, but in the habits aligned with this universal law. Hill's message is clear. Master your habits, and you master your fate. Create routines that mirror the success you dream of. Train your mind daily with positive thoughts, just as you train your body with exercise. Soon, success will not feel forced. It will feel natural, inevitable, as if the universe itself were conspiring in your favor. And here lies the culmination of all 15 lessons. Success is no accident. It is a law-governed journey. With a clear purpose, faith, initiative, discipline, and the golden rule, you harness the cosmic habit force to carry you toward the life you envision. Dear friend, we have walked through the 15 mighty lessons of Napoleon Hill, from definite chief aim to cosmic habit force. Together, they form not just a book, but a philosophy of life. Remember, a book cannot change the world, but it can change you. And through you, the world will be touched. So let this wisdom echo in your heart. Plant the right habits, nurture the right thoughts, and live by the golden rule. The universe will respond, for it always does. If you found light in this journey, share it. Stay with us here, in Guide to Reads, where every page opens another path of wisdom. Until our next episode, may your days be rich with clarity, courage, and growth.